Oh, here we are, right on the second. Yes, we're on the clock, so I will call this meeting to order, DeKalb County Commissioners. The date is August 15th, 2022, and good morning, Dottie.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, we'll talk a little bit about recruiting and hiring. The Sheriff's Department has 2 confinement officers who are going to be starting tomorrow. There's a third one in the pipeline. So, that's good. However, we received a letter of resignation from the Sheriff's Department last week. So as I keep telling you, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and in this case.
Well, that's better than 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
You're right. So kind of still behind the 8 ball on that. Still working with the assessor and the extension office regarding their 2 open positions, but evidently things must be going okay for right now. And I don't know if the extension office with the timing could be really bad to bring somebody in with the fair coming up, so quickly, and to throw that person in that office, with the fair. So
We'll know whether they're going to stay or not.
yeah, exactly. Baptism by fire, that kind of thing. So Central Communications is still accepting applications, but we have several who have already filled out their applications and have gone to work 1 and taken their evaluations, and so that's a good thing. They have jumped through the hoops. I talked to Brian last week. They were still scheduling the sit-alongs, instead of the ride-alongs, and to make sure that the person, it's something that they really want to do. If you sit out there long enough, you're either bored stiff or else, whoa, the adrenaline is like, crazy off the charts. So that's always, always a good way of immersing the person in what could happen out there. The Veterans Services Office administrative assistant. There will be interviews on Friday the 19th. They're not sure just how many that there will be, but that's what they scheduled. Development services, there's a new development. That planning, zoning, clerical person has they've made a decision that they would like to stay, but they would also like some more training with some things. I think that was the big deal, that what was happening. The person didn't feel totally comfortable, and so thought, well, I'll just resign. And finally, it's like we talked, and there were some things brought up, and so she took back her resignation. We, with kind of we did sort of I wouldn't say a performance improvement plan, because we didn't know that the person didn't know. And so we're going to do like 6 weeks. Let's deal with this. Let's have you work on some things, and then we'll make a decision then at the end of that. We did have a really good candidate that I was sorry that we had to say, hey, this is a situation, and she was totally okay with that, and we kind of left it that if you are still looking, and when we're looking again, if that happens, then we'll come back together. So at least we have that one. Surveyor's first deputy is still open. I haven't had any discussions with Mike.
No.
So, and community corrections, we have part-time and full-time residential facilitator positions open, and they are still, let's see, I think we might be closing the Director of Intervention Services. That one is probably closing out. They did receive some, at least through me, some good candidates, so we shall see what happens with that. So that's kind of the, at least the those sorts of things. I was informed over the weekend that one of our IT people has definitely decided a retirement date for next year. Of course, we already knew, but we just didn't know the date. So now we at least have a date to work with, and that whether or not that will be the absolute end date, because we've talked about perhaps keeping that person on or bringing them back to assist with more of the training. And I think that would be a nice segue, a nice transition if we did that. We also have closed out some things on our work comp claims. We had 2 work comp claims that closed out last month, and they weren't really very old, but it was good. One from Community Corrections, lifting boxes and strained themselves, and it was a hernia situation. And then at the Highway Department, an elbow on the exhaust of the truck, so that was a burn. And it was simply a record only, just in case something happened. It wasn't as bad as what you might think. But we still have some things open with work comp. We have 2 former employees who are still on on our list. The one, we haven't had any action on that, so I don't know if IPEP is planning to dissolve that one really soon. The other one, that was at Community Corrections. The other one was at Sunny Meadows, and that is still an ongoing treatment, although the last time that we had some information just last week, we still could not meet the restrictions if the person were employed by us, and they think that the person has plateaued in their physical therapy. So it sounds like that one may be closing out in the next few months, if that's the case. So otherwise, we have 4 from the Sheriff's Department, and 1 from the Highway Department, and then another one from Community Corrections. So it's not too bad, really, overall. We're still dealing with one that has been open since October of 2020. That's a shoulder that it sounds like maybe that one's going to come to a close, and the person will be able to come back to work very soon. So, and the person hasn't been off all those 2 years. It was off for surgery, and then there had to be a second surgery and is off. So anyway, that's what's happening with IPEP and our work comp. We have, let's see. We have Hoosier Start representative coming in on August the 25th, and so we're opening it up for our current employees to talk with the advisor, and if they want to enroll in this. The county doesn't put anything toward it, but we simply deduct what the person wants in their to contribute to this retirement plan. And One America, that is the company with whom we have our life, accidental death and dismemberment, short-term disability, and the long-term disability with the Sheriff's Department, and then voluntary long-term disability with all other employees. And so what we would like to do, we have a good portion of our employees who waived long-term disability, and from either their new hire, newly eligible, or from when we started this back in 2019. And we thought, well, it might be a good idea to just let all of those employees who do not currently have the long-term disability, One America would put together individual personalized packets, And this is what, the premium would be for long-term disability, in your biweekly, and for them to, say yay or nay, just as a courtesy. So we haven't set anything up. We hope
Just the
that
voluntary.
it's just voluntary. Yeah.
I just
You
wanted to
see,
clarify that.
nobody, you don't have a choice. Otherwise, you just don't have a choice. You are just already signed up for the short-term disability and the life, accidental death, and dismemberment. That's $10,000. And the sheriff's department, doesn't have a choice. They're just enrolled in the long-term disability. From a decision that was made back then, and so far, nobody has had to avail themselves of the long-term disability. Now, the short-term, yes, we've had several, and thank goodness, nothing on the life, accidental death, and dismemberment. So anyway, we do not have a date set yet, but Susan and Teresa and Lindsay and I have kind of had some discussions about it, and we want it to go well. It's either a yay or nay. With the employees. There's no, but I want this and I want that. It's just, this is what it would be if you decided to do it, and this is what we would do with payroll. So like I said, I don't have a date yet on that, but it looks like it probably will be maybe September, so that we can get it into like November, so that we all have plenty of time to work with it. Then Anthem is going to come in, the two reps from Anthem and our broker, on September the 14th at 10 a.m. We're going to have sort of our, it's usually a quarterly meeting, but this will be quarterly plus the annual, because by then they should have all of the claims, everything from our first year with Anthem. So we're going to meet downstairs in the basement. So if anybody's available on September 14th at 10 a.m. to come and listen to them, that would be great. The other thing is the survey says, Carolyn had given you all of the information on the surveys. I was busy last week. I was also out one day. And so I didn't give you any more comments on more of the comments or any more information on any of the other comments. But I really think that we need to let our employees know that we did receive. We thank them for participating, and what are you guys planning to do with the data that you now have? It's just one of those things that if we go too long, employees are going to start getting ticked. And if we ever tried to do it again, why? They didn't do anything with it anyway, the usual. So, as I said, most sources say that within 90 days, you need to tell employees what you're planning to do and what you won't be changing. There's that option too. And, give them the feedback and tell them why. So just wanted to keep that in your minds, and maybe you guys formulate something that, after you've taken a look at these things. And I know probably some of it may have, you may have to talk with council about, if you're funding something else or if you're not funding things. So anyway, that's, I think, all that I have on my agenda today.
Anything for Dottie? Questions, comments?
Oh, I'm sorry?
We do.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
pays for
We
the
do, the
long-term
county
disability?
does.
The county does?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's, I forget who we had prior to One America, but.
Yeah. The
years
Hartford, I
ago-
think.
Yeah, years ago,
yeah.
that was, like
Yeah.
the sheriff's department
Yeah.
has done that.
Yeah.
Really?
A little history, yes. A few years ago, and just keep asking these questions. The highway department had a short-term disability, And the sheriff's department had a long-term disability, but nobody else in the county, no other employees had any of those. Now, everyone had the $10,000 life accidental death and dismemberment, kind of across the board, but in discussions with that current board of commissioners, it was decided, well, okay, one department has this and one department has the other. Maybe we ought to try to enhance our benefit package, retention, recruitment, that sort of thing. And so, but it was a decision that was made by that group of commissioners to give all employees the short-term disability, and then carved out for the sheriff's department the long-term disability. Whether or not they felt that their department, one of the comments that the sheriff at the time made was that his department had more risk. That is true. That is true. However, if it's an on-the-clock injury that comes with work comp, it's not a private thing. So, but it could with Social Security if the person were, disabled by some means or whatever. But anyway, so that's sort of the history with that. Yep. And then everybody else is voluntary. There's really no pressure. We put it in with the, the benefit package, and this is approximately what your premium is going to be. You can figure it out for yourself. The employee can figure it out for themselves, and so this will just kind of be as a courtesy. You want it or not, because nobody's had the opportunity before. If they declined coverage back in 2019, they haven't had the opportunity to sign up, at least through the county.
Anything else for Dottie? Mike, anything? Nope. I do want to discuss one thing, the 40-hour work week. I think Mike had made a suggestion that we get together with the department heads, have a discussion about the 40-hour work week. I'm thinking that might be beneficial.
No, my suggestion was we get together with the department heads and elected officials about courthouse hours and office hours to see if we could come to some agreement there.
Not necessarily 40 hours.
My sense is that the 40-hour work week is a dead issue.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
But
I
I think that's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I do think it's entirely possible to work with expanded hours and let the department heads and elected officials schedule their people to fill those hours. If we can get the elected officials to agree to those office hours, and I do think it's beneficial to our constituents to have that extra time to do business.
What do you think about that, Todd?
A good start. Talk to them, and it's like Mike said, if you gotta get the elected officials on board, the one thing that I hope to hear from them possibly, when they say, hey, we can't get our work done, we don't have enough manpower, is to say, hey, I'd like to see expand those hours first and see if we get more done, and then we can talk about more employees later. If that doesn't take care of it. I think voluntary is the way to do it, though, is just say, hey, you're the elected official, you're in control. However, you also, when you were elected, you want to have the county's best interests in mind, not just the employees of the county.
Right.
And the people need to come first. So I think they voluntarily should be persuaded to expand hours if needed.
And put it in their court, more or less.
Yeah.
If they refuse, then it's on them.
Yeah.
We try. We try to
Gave an option.
improve the services and kind of leave it up to them, whether they follow through and cooperate or whether they want to stay where they're at.
One of the problems
Tell you one of the problems that I will have is I do have people that will work later and stay later.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're gonna be open later, a half hour of no outside people coming in is like getting an hour's worth of work done with. So it's gonna defeat my purposes, because if we actually have people come in that half hour or whatever, then they're not gonna get their work done anyways.
Well, and
So
I think,
at the times that I need it, then they work extra.
I think we can break your department down a little differently, though. In other words, I mean, you obviously see people in the transfer office and people come up for their homesteads and all that. But you could segregate your people and say, hey, you need to do paperwork over here. They're not talking to anyone. Let you handle that. I'm saying let you handle that is what I'm saying. If you need some people to work 44 hours that week and they get a little overtime, so be it. It's cheaper than hiring another person. But I do agree with you that, man, quiet time at work when I have it is great, because I can actually concentrate on something, especially when you're dealing with numbers. But I really think that there's an opportunity for us to serve people better. You know, let's face it, we're all customers of this government, and we don't want to be customers. We're forced to be customers of this government. So therefore, we should have reasonable hours for people that work. So, you know.
Well, and again, you never know. If you get everybody around the table, you never know what kind of ideas are going to come out of that
Yeah.
discussion.
Right.
And you know, I think it's a solvable problem.
That's a good discussion. After having the survey, one of the things they wanted was better communication. I think if we open up the communication lines and say, let's all sit down and hammer out what's best for the citizens of DeKalb County.
And that'd be a good start, and to show them that we did listen.
Yeah,
You know, bring forth your ideas
yeah.
and,
How can we serve people better and make work conditions better too at the same
Yeah.
time?
I agree.
When would we-
Scheduled as a special meeting, or you want it scheduled during one of your regular meetings?
I think this would be an executive style meeting to discuss. Can't this be an executive? We're not making any decisions on
Yeah, I don't think
We're not
this is-
writing
this is
ordinances
not
or
a
anything.
topic for a public meeting. I think we need to do this as an
I would
executive.
agree, we're talking
Yeah.
about employee relations.
yeah.
it needs to be,
We're
a-
not
So it
making
would qualify.
decisions on ordinances or anything like that. I think it just needs to be a closed
It's
executive
just,
meeting.
yeah, just
yeah, let's do that. We'll schedule that. Any ideas when?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys give me some dates.
June of 2025 sometime. Hey, my schedule's full.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm open about anything, guys.
The weeks of, before Labor Day and the week after Labor Day, I'm gone.
I would soon get through Labor Day before we schedule
Do it after
anything.
Labor Day. Let's do that.
I'd be good anytime mid-September on.
Yeah, second, third week. of Sep-
Okay. I'm gonna try for the third week, because the second week I have
budget.
public hearings for budgets.
Okay.
Okay,
And then a third meeting that I have 2 regular council meetings and public hearings that month.
Okay.
Sometime week of the 19th.
So,
Thinking,
I was thinking the week of the 12th.
Yeah, 12th.
Okay, I will,
Well, wait a minute.
12th of September?
well, maybe in the afternoon, the
Oh,
morning.
that's
would-
okay. Yeah. I could do that. I would rather do it on a Monday just to,
Consolidate
all in one
everything.
day.
Right, yeah.
oh, Monday afternoon, the
possible.
12th.
yeah, we could go from here to that, this meeting to that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have that afternoon's open.
Are any department heads super busy Monday morning or Monday afternoon? Is Monday afternoon a really busy day for catch up for any departments?
I don't know. I honestly don't.
I know some days are worse than others for certain departments. That'd be fine with me.
All right.
Thursday after, the 15th is wide open that afternoon too.
Yeah,
This
I could
is
do
an
that too.
Alternative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill will bring
After
the ice
lunch.
cream. You gonna bring the ice cream, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just have an ice cream social while we're here.
We'll get them in here,
Okay.
drive them with ice cream.
Anytime you have food, cooperation kind of follows, you know?
Does.
Bet you if we put a little bourbon in the ice cream, we can get more done.
Or nap time.
It may not be on any county business.
Sorry, yeah. I think that's against the rules. There's probably something in the employee handbook.
We can change the handbook.
We definitely have more fun. And
We're your commissioners, ignore it.
All right.
Not.
That works, so Chuck, if people could do that, 12th would be fine with me.
anything else for Dottie? I think we're all done, Dottie.
Wonderful, good. And now you have some extra time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Have a good day, Dottie.
Okay, let's go on down the list of topics and discussion. First one is claims. We had a few special claims.
I'll move to approve the special claims.
Second.
A motion and second to approve claims. Any additional comments or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Claims are approved. Minutes. Anything in the minutes to discuss? I saw nothing.
Didn't see anything.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
And seconded.
Motion and a second to approve minutes. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries. And our favorite, travel. Couldn't hardly wait to get to that, could we?
Right?
Real quick, I see on the list here, Sunny Meadows July report is on it. Do you have it? Okay, if we could just pass it down, I can read it while we're doing other things too.
You can do.
Okay, thank you.
Claim sheet also.
Okay.
Sign this too.
Travel. Any comments on travel?
Well, they all looked fine except for one to me. I believe in the employee handbook, it says we must submit travel before we go. See one that was not.
The very first one for Sheriff Chirp
Yeah.
was not submitted until August 9th. I had, because of the whole issues we had with Nashville conference, I actually was thinking about, I wonder where Roger's credit card is because, he's gone. So I was talking about that, and then so I talked to one of the administrative people over at the Sheriff's Department. She had mentioned that he was gone. I'm like, gone where? I said, I don't think I ever saw anything. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, I have it, but it's not. I said, does it have our stamp on it? And she said, no. I said, okay. So I said, you probably should send that over since he's there.
What do you mean our stamp on it? On
When
what?
they come, we file stamp when it's submitted.
Oh, on the actual form. I thought you meant on the credit card. I'm like,
No.
Okay, all right.
No, that just got me
Okay.
to this point. So she went ahead and sent it, but that's your guys' call.
Was there just a mistake in not sending it? Did they forget to send it? Did it get lost in the walk from the jail to here? How did?
It did not get lost in the walk. From my understanding, whoever was involved in it just
Drop the ball.
always rely on somebody else to make it go further. And if that person's not here, then things don't always happen.
How was that claim paid for, do you know?
Out of county general, out of
But
his.
did we get some reimbursement on it from anyone?
No, we won't. Not on this one.
All on us.
Yeah. The registration fee and the room. I mean, obviously, he drove a county vehicle.
Right. I don't have a problem with that. I was just wondering. I notice we're getting more notes on the bottom of them now that people know we're actually looking at them, and they're giving us good notes, which I like. Judge Grimm gave us notes saying, hey, this picks up the, he's told Judge Grimm we're watching now, and he's being good and writing stuff down, so. Yeah, here's how I look at this claim stuff. I think, to be honest with you, I think looking at travel is a waste of our time, since we just approve everything anyway, and if they know what they're doing, go ahead and let them do it. But then again, if the rules say it has to be submitted beforehand and it isn't, do we give a special privilege to people for that? Especially if they're not trying hard? I don't know.
Okay, there's a place in Devin Movers who did it, not you, for you and tried to justify why it was filed late.
I think the handbook actually says it has to be submitted beforehand, but we can give special consideration to it if we desire. Doesn't say anything about them presenting, but I know, just nothing about them presenting or anything if we ask them to, but I know what the presentation's gonna be, and I don't care to hear it, to be honest with you. So we can either approve it and move on, or we can drag this out and know what the result's gonna be.
I'm not in favor of approving it. That's just my,
That's what I'm saying.
so, but it's up to you guys to,
But we know what the result is when we don't approve it. It's just gnashing of teeth and upset, and
well,
I'm not taking a position of
if we
approving,
let
just so
this
you
go
know.
and go and go, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. That's the only thing.
I guess,
We have to stay on top of it, or it's just going to be, the more we let it lapse, the more it'll lapse.
I guess if the person that was submitting it was at work every day and was a team player, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd say, hey, mistakes are made. But when you're leaving office and intentionally trying to cause problems, I think we can play that game back too.
Entertain a motion one way or the other, exempting one, or approve all, or whatever fits your fancy.
I'd make a motion to approve them all except for that one.
Have a second? I'll second it. A motion and second on the floor to approve all travel except the sheriff's. Any additional discussion or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Aye.
One opposed. 2 ayes, 1 nay. Sunny Meadows, July report.
Move to acknowledge receipt of the July Sunny Meadows report.
I would second that. I think it was short and sweet and
Had lots of money in it.
had lots of money in it,
A
so
lot of them.
we'll take that.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Plan Commission member.
I did verify with Chris, and he has not had any luck yet in finding a Democrat person. So we probably I don't have any suggestions, so we might be able to take it off.
I got 1 or 2 in mind. I haven't spoken to him yet.
Okay.
I will make that a point this week.
You know Democrats?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. But
If we can't find someone who's willing to step on, then we can contact Suzanne Davis for a recommendation. If she can't come up with anybody, then we can waive that requirement and appoint a Republican or an independent.
right.
So we can go through your avenue first, see
Let's
who
go
you
mine
know. If you
first,
don't, go to
then we'll
her,
go
and
to
then,
Suzanne, and,
that makes sense to me.
yeah, let's do that.
Makes sense.
Okay. County Road 60 update. I don't know if we got any on that.
No, Nothing to report.
Still waiting on
Yeah, I'll,
St. Joe.
Yeah, I'll see Mary Simcox this evening.
Is this for us giving them the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Wow, look at us fly. Miscellaneous topics. What you got? Anything?
A lot. We went so fast, I'm trying to think about what I had in my mind. I was thinking time to prepare on that.
One thing that we could do before community corrections comes, this was just it's the updated Purdue extension agreement. You already motioned and approved the one, but then they wanted different wording. So if you guys want to, I just have that.
Right.
I think I read that.
Your
We received that by email, right?
somebody's going to motion to update for the president. For the president to sign the updated one.
I
No
didn't
issues.
have any problem with it.
And I'll move that we approve the updated Purdue extension agreement and for the president to sign.
Second that.
A motion and a second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. I will sign.
Quite a packet, this Auburn
Ma'am? Anything else? Miscellaneous topics. Jim, anything? I want to discuss a little thing here, something, I shouldn't say it's a little thing, the VA secretary.
Oh, yes. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Is
Matter of
that
fact.
what
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
We're wondering if that shouldn't be part-time. I'm wondering. That shouldn't be part-time. Seems like she has had plenty of time to watch YouTube. There was concern
Previous
about.
secretary, not
Yeah.
Rhonda.
Yeah, secretary.
Yeah.
She was let go, of course, and that was part of the problem. She was watching YouTube an awful lot, a lot, according to Dottie. I should have brought this up when Dottie was here, but we can always have a discussion and bring it up again next week. But there was a discussion previously about somebody in the office at all times. Well, they've got 3 people there now. You got Rhonda full-time, Travis part-time, and secretary. And they just wonder if we shouldn't have a conversation with Rhonda. Can she man that office the hours that she wants to with 2 part-time and 1 full-time employee in there? I don't think there's enough work for a full-time secretary.
I think it'd be a good discussion
That's
to
a
have.
worthwhile discussion, sure. And
Okay,
anytime we can make that kind of a move, we're ahead of the game as long as
right.
our service doesn't suffer. Yeah.
We'll get Rhonda in
Yeah.
and have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Homeland Security.
Do you want me to schedule with Rhonda, or are you going to talk to her?
Would you schedule it? Thank you. While we're on part-time, is there a requirement that we have a full-time Homeland Security executive?
That I don't know. But, that's a good question.
No idea.
The position is partially funded by the federal government, I believe, right? Susan, do you know what the percentage is by any chance with the Homeland
It's
Security?
not a percentage anymore. I think we get back
That's right, it's a flat
right
amount,
around
isn't it?
30, 31,000, 3,000.
Somewhere in
around
that
there.
range, okay, it is a flat amount.
Yeah.
And and my concern on this whole thing, guys, is very simple. I think anytime we talk about positions, we got to take the person out of the equation. In other words, they're good people.
Yeah.
This isn't punishment. This is just us looking for the best for the county.
Yeah, and we have to talk about the job only today, not the person.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So that, in that position, what I see, when I was out there on a Monday, Central, just to deal with that fire issue, the stupid $8,200 panel, that's $30. But anyway, I noticed neither employee was out there for Homeland Security. I said, oh, they both at lunch? And no, they're both working their full-time jobs. I said, one is full-time and one's part-time. Isn't the part-time supposed to cover for the full-time? Yet they both have full-times as firemen. So I looked at it and said, wait a minute. We hire a full-time person. He can't be here because he has another full-time job. And then the part-time guy job has a full-time. He's not covering for him. You must not need someone here all the time. So that started me questioning, should it really be full-time and part-time? Or maybe just a full-time and no part-time, or two part-time people to cover for each. The way I looked at it, just from an expense, I just look at the employees that are around here that do their jobs. And if someone's getting paid a sizable salary, we're talking in the 60,000 range, to be part-time on a full-time salary job, plus has another taxpayer-paid full-time job with benefits, it kind of looks bad, It's no different than, and I'm not saying Schweitzer for the city was right or wrong what they did with him, but kind of the same thing. Guy's running basically 3 departments, and he probably did a good job at it. I'm not saying he wasn't, but other people had animosity over that. Why does this guy make $250,000, $275,000 a year? And if those departments truly can be run part-time, then those are part-time positions. The salary should be dropped down, But
Benefits.
no. So it's kind of the same scenario.
I would certainly think that under those circumstances, somebody should be in the office,
Yeah, no one was there.
I mean, from a scheduling standpoint,
Yeah.
taking the other stuff out of the equation, the office ought to be manned.
Yeah. Yeah, it was dark.
At all times. Now, I don't know, I'm sure there's some way to research this, whether there's something statutory or whether any funding that we get for Homeland Security hinges on how that position is structured. I don't know, but
And that
I
could
think
be too.
we need to look into that,
Yeah.
see, but I agree that,
And that's a possibility if there's no funding if you don't have a full-time position.
yeah.
And it may be, and I'm all for that, but the full-time person needs to be there.
Right. Somebody
Yeah.
needs,
Someone needs to be
if you
there.
have 2 people, they need to be,
Yeah.
They need to be on
Coordinate their
duty,
schedule.
whether they're
Well-
there or they're doing some function
Right.
associated
Yeah.
with that position.
And it goes again, if you're full-time, you should be there all the time unless you can't be there for medical, if that truly is your full-time position, that is your priority. You can't have 2 full-time jobs.
And prioritize, yeah.
I think that's awkward.
And then say, well, I need an assistant because I can't get this all done. Well, you're only here 16 to 20 hours a week. So, okay, so we give you the assistant. Well, he can't be there because he has a full-time job. Well, okay, do we hire a third person to make it man then? And I just think it should be looked at, and I think the first step, like we've discussed, is to say, hey, do we need a full-time director to start with? If we don't, then you can start saying this can be broken into part-time positions. Now, Mr. Meeks does not take any benefits, so he's not costing us really any benefits. PERF, we are paying in the PERF, but other than that, it's not, but the next person could. If they take it and have another full-time, it's just something to think about. I think we're double dipping a little bit.
Okay,
It's,
let's do a little research.
it's interesting how we would have filled that position with someone who had another full-time job. in the beginning.
Well, what happened was, he was, and like I say, he's doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, yeah,
No problem there.
yeah.
What happened is, he was deputy under Mr.
Roger.
Mr. Powers, and I think he was able to fill that part-time position, because Roger truly was full-time. He had no other
Right,
position.
yeah, yeah.
So Roger could handle it, and then Mr. Meeks would step in and, hey, I'll fill in that Tuesday, I'll fill in. And so he was a natural to take the position, in my opinion, because he had the knowledge, he understood the
But he already
process.
had the job.
But he's already a full-time fireman that has to be, and the way I understand it, they're on 24 with the fire department and off 48.
Yep.
So he's working his off 48 here, but it's not like the fire department where he's here 24 hours like there. So I just think it could cause a problem down the future. So.
Well, I think at a minimum, we need to see if he and Gabe could get on opposite shift schedules so that if-
Someone needs
if
to man
he's-
it.
If Jason's 24 on, Gabe's is 24 off, at a minimum, but
And
I
that might have been
think we need to take a
glitched.
deeper dive
Yeah.
into the whole situation.
Well, and then my next question would be, though, if they're both working the same hours and they're only each putting in, let's say, 23 hours part-time,
Yeah.
it's still not a full-time position is the way I see it, so.
Right.
And now, to be fair, a salaried position is a position that says pretty much you stay until the job's done. And that might mean you work 7 on, and you just say, hey, I'm taking the next week off because I got all my projects done. So I don't want to hit them too hard saying, hey, you need to be there every day. But then again, if you say you need an assistant because you can't get your work done, but you're not there, I think it has to have talk, so. But I will do some research seeing what is requirement in order to,
I get that for
I'll
us.
see if I can figure that out. And if you could help me with that, Susan, too, I know you got your plate full, but if you can point me in the right direction of who to talk to.
She's not doing anything
You're the
else.
government expert, you're the auditor, come on.
She's not doing anything else.
Jim, do you have any,
I will see what I can find.
do you have any knowledge as far as Homeland Security requirements?
I don't know the requirements. We may have gone through them all, when the changeover happened, when Roger left.
I know.
I remember that there was no opposition to it among commissioners.
Well,
That's not me stating an opinion, that's just me reporting.
worthwhile discussion.
Yep.
Let me dig into it. I work faster and cheaper than Jim, so I will work on this.
Ooh,
Cheaper anyway, maybe
all
not faster.
right.
I'll try to get you a donation.
I'm just digging on you, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on then to the next item on the agenda. Michelle, you are up. What you got? Just a small request?
Oh, we're sneaking
the mic.
in on Michelle's time, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
Make sure your mics are on.
on and put towards you.
Michael, I think you say that every time you come in. It doesn't cost any money.
And
Sign here, though.
make
No
sure
money,
you rattle
sign
your
here.
papers.
Morning, Michelle.
Morning. So we are part of we were part of a group purchasing contract with the jail, which we didn't know about. When they decided to move over to the cantina as their food provider, they canceled their part of the group contract. One of the biggest things that it does for us, and was doing for them, I'd assume, was it gives us discounts on our food purchases from Gordon Food Service. So after they canceled their contract and went with that cantina company, it also canceled our contract that we didn't even know we were part of. So the representative from the Gordon Food Service, as well as the lady from the purchasing organization, which is called HPS, came to meet with us to explain what the benefits of the contract are, how much our prices will go up if we aren't part of the group purchasing anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So what we have to do now is we have to enter into our own contract with group purchasing for $780, I didn't bring that paper with me, it's about $780 to $90 for the year. But the discounts that we get on the food purchases from Gordon Food Service more than covers that cost for us. They ran through a couple examples with us when they were there, just saying like how much more the food is gonna cost us if we don't do it. and it's going to pay for itself. We're also looking into the other discounts that it gives us. So it'll give us some discounts like at Staples, even some maintenance type things, plumbing services and different things that we were unaware of. So we're pretty much just asking permission to carry on that contract on our own now that the jail isn't doing it anymore.
I see.
Quick question, is there any reason we can't use cantina services out at community corrections also?
Well, I wouldn't say there's a reason we can't do it. In the little bit that I was able to look into it, they charge by volume. So I think if that's a good decision or not depends on whether or not we can get into a contract with the jail in order to make our numbers higher. If we don't, the price per meal is significantly higher for us, higher than what we can do on our own going through Gordon's.
Do you know what the price per meal was at the lower discount or no discount level? Do you know that data? Because it was only like $2 and some cents for the jail per meal, and I said, there is no way you can make the food and deliver it for that internally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer. I'm glad we had that happen at the jail. It's a wonderful thing.
So
But-
our price, if we cannot be lumped in with the jail and be considered possibly the same, which I would think maybe that's something to talk about in the future, because if they could make the meals enough for us included and then deliver them to us, I think that that could be possible. The difference for us, though, is that we have to do obviously like sack lunches and stuff for them to take with them. And that, in my understanding from the basic information on the Cantina website, is that that's a different price point. So the only prices I really have are from the jail contract. So if you go 0 to 58 inmate meals is what they call it, it's $3.83 a meal, which is more than what we're able to do ordering for ourselves. If we're able to group together and get a higher quantity, the jail plus ours, it might be affordable.
You have to remember, you guys don't have a full kitchen.
Correct.
Oh,
So
that
if they-
was a problem. You didn't have
So
an
they would
oven
have-
or a cooktop? I can't
Cooktop.
remember.
Yes, cooktop.
You have an oven, though.
We
but
have
not-
Microwave?
we have a steamer and we have a convection oven,
Okay.
some things like that, but we don't have all the full service stuff. And then also, like I said, I know it's probably a different price for them to provide like a sack lunch or like a pre-packaged meal, and I don't know what that price is.
Okay. I just looked at it from a standpoint of not only possibly price savings per meal, but I know you're having a hard time like residential facilitators getting good ones. I don't know if you're having a hard time with, does your residential facilitators also cook the meals?
They do. They do it all.
So I'm just wondering, I know that's your hardest, probably one of your hardest positions to fill, and probably a lot of it due to the pay and such, and it'd just be nice if we could segue what the jail's doing there, but if it doesn't work for you, I understand that too. You know, we gotta make sure we don't put a bad program in place, of course.
Right. I think it'd have to be a much larger conversation with the Cantina, whether they would let us group together for the pricing, some different things like that.
Okay. If we could make that work in the future, is that something you'd be on board with?
Yeah, I think it's definitely something to look into. Obviously, it's something we wanted to look into because we called and asked questions and asked for a copy of the contract and some different
Okay.
things like that.
I appreciate you working with us, because we'll see if we can't help there.
But the immediate solution is to get you on board with the GFS discount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of leaning that way too. Keep going what we're doing, but let's see how this cantina works out at the jail.
Yeah.
And if it could be moved over there with your cooperation, if you think we could make it work in the future, I think we should
Yeah.
look at that.
That's really a slick operation if you can make it work.
If you can make it work. Yours is a little different situation out there, but still, even if it costs the same or even a little more for a cantina, it might be savings in the long run just with hassle. I don't know.
It would hope it would save a little bit and cover the cost of putting in a cooktop, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
there is a room, I think, for a cooktop, but it had
Oh, I
to
would
be,
think.
it had to be wired and a ventilator, vent put in and so forth.
Is the oven natural gas out there? Do you know? The convection oven?
No, I think it's all electric.
Is it all electric?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Not something I spent a lot of time digging around behind there, but
You can pull it out,
Now I
check the
wanna know.
connection, and, all
I should
right,
go check.
cool.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, I'd make a motion that we go ahead and sign the agreement for the discounted food service, get us through. How long is this contract for?
1 year.
A year? I think that's a good time frame too, to see how Cantina works out, and then try to adopt it in at next year if it makes sense.
We get some numbers, comparable
some
numbers,
numbers.
so we know
Could
exactly
you,
where
could you
we're at.
do us a favor and dig in more to see if they would partner with the jail, throw us in there, even if they, and what they would surcharge us maybe to deliver it, what they would charge you for sack lunches? Maybe just get that ball rolling, just to see.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Is this the only?
Oh, yeah. We signed this contract with the group purchasing, and then they have a contract for each business that we want to use then. But I think, you know, Shannon and I will be able to just fill those out as needed. There's no extra cost per each business that you want to work with. It's just that upfront annual charge to be part of the group. No, I couldn't either. I don't think it's on this form. I'm not sure I have it any other place either. I know,
Put it in as a 1 year.
okay. Do you need us to email you something with a specific amount on it?
If
we
you
have
have, that would be nice, and then I can.
Yeah, I'm sure we have it somewhere.
And that contract is an upfront just payment, right? It's not a monthly payment, it's not a,
Yeah, it's a one-time fee for the year.
so if we did get out of it early, it's just we've already paid them. It's not like we're bound to monthly, I mean, we're not tens of thousands of dollars into a contract on food. This is just for the discount.
Right,
to-
this is just to be part of that purchasing organization
yeah.
for a year.
Makes sense.
I'll second Todd's motion.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? You want to read that before you vote on it, or are you good to go?
I think we got to sign it to know what's in it.
Is that right? Where'd I hear that before?
I think it's probably a pretty simple little contract here. I'm good with it.
Hearing no comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries.
I had piggyback this just because I didn't want to take any more time. It's just to put a bug in your ear and make maybe a larger request. In the periods of time which have been going back and forth, obviously you can see that there's land out there and it's going to be built. There's one way in, one way out. So we're talking about, I think, Parkview, there's conversations about the park, everything. You got drainage tiles are going out there, surveyors are going out there. I was hoping that trying to figure out who would be in contact with the people who are the construction managers for something like that. So it was possible for us to be in some of those meetings. One, maybe get a calendar, what they're looking like, maybe have a conversation with them, let them know. We got participants walking up and down that street. We can't really have it fully closed off, and just allowing us to be involved in the conversation so we know what's going on. So we have the ability to inform both the workers out there, community corrections, as well as the participants. Hey, there's a lot of things that are going to begin on this date, or they're going to be moving big equipment on these dates, blah, blah, blah. So we would know what we would be dealing with as construction started that way.
Well, the drainage tile is there for the Gross Cup drain reconstruction,
Okay,
which isn't going to affect Potter Drive
okay,
at all. Parkview's not going to start turning dirt until '23.
Okay.
You got no real concerns
okay.
there for a while. And I'm not sure that the Parkview project is going to have any effect on Potter Drive either.
Okay, they intend to come in straight off of 7?
That's in a discussion stage with NDOT.
Okay, and I guess that's where I was at. You know, we're coming up to budget time, had a meeting with a council member and looking at him and asking those kind of questions. Because I don't know where you guys are at with that, who those approvals, who's involved with who. And I was just asking that as those things come about, when things get shored up or they request, if you guys have that name, we find out who those people are. We just like to hear from them. So we just have a contact so we can notify people what it's going to look like.
Yeah, currently, the discussion is one curb cut on 7th Street, which would, or on State Road 8, which would probably be a construction entrance that will eventually become a roundabout.
Okay.
But that's just the current discussion.
Current count, yeah.
That'd be right across from Smaltz Drive.
Yeah.
The roundabout. Yeah, that tile out there, is that gonna be jack and board under Potter Drive?
I think so, yeah. I think
Yeah, that would be jack and board under Potter Drive. It'll go to the open ditch along the south side of that Lions property, right along the highway, right away, and then it'll angle up to that pond. So that's all that's going to involve at this time.
Okay.
And that's a county project.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It just seeing that kind of stuff, it brought it to my mind coming in and out, saying, who's going to be in there, heavy equipment, because what you got, regardless of the fact that there's a sidewalk, every once in a while you got a participant that just decides to walk down the road. So us informing them that that's not a good idea. These are the kind of, things that'll be coming in, backing out. They're not going to be, probably looking for people like that. One, we could notify them that, yeah, we should be looking for people like that. And number two, inform the participants and the people that work there about possible road closures or things that were going on. So I just want to put that bug in your ear. Like I said, no money, no votes, just asking for some, to keep us in mind.
Yeah, well, given that Potter Drive dead ends, can't imagine any situation where they would actually close it.
Sure.
Yeah. Couldn't.
So I think
Well,
it
you need a
gives
way
you some
out.
assurances.
I don't think you can close it.
Yeah.
Now, if we had
If
the
you do,
road,
we'll give you a four-wheeler, you can go
Through.
off-road.
we had the 40, road going to 40 open.
Yeah.
Then good, but
That may be a ways off,
Yeah.
undetermined. Anything else?
No, sir.
You happy? All set?
Yes, sir.
Good.
by the way, good job on drug court, whatever your participation is, and I attended, and it was a very positive experience, and very happy to see those folks get help. Folks that were there, I was very impressed what they were and what they are now. There was only one we had to kick out. I didn't kick anyone out, but felt bad that the guy had to be removed, but it was in his best interest and also his best interest. So it was tough decisions to be made, and I think there's good decisions being made. So.
I appreciate your attendance. One of the things that we, at probation and total community corrections, a movement towards truly focusing all our efforts, our level, our financial, our personnel, towards the high risk, high needs. I mean, that's a huge set of the criminal involvement inside any of our societies. So really focusing our efforts, our time towards that scientifically is expected to have a significant effect.
Well, I just enjoyed watching the state as the prosecutor per se and the defendant, Stephanie, defending. They were actually both trying to help the gentleman and the other. That wasn't, hey, I want this guy to go to jail forever. No, he needs to get off. He's never a bad person. They both said, hey, this person's got issues. And it was just neat to watch that work instead of the back and forth.
Sure.
So anyway, it was a very positive experience, and I'm full support of it. So.
And I would encourage anybody who wants a better education on those kind of things, what they're doing. There's 3 of them in operation right now in DeKalb County, and just doing great things.
Yeah.
Doing amazing things.
So.
Out that you said positive things about.
Well, there's certain lawyers that do good things, Jim. Certain.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, Mike and Kyle, you are up. Find a home there. That'd be fine. Make sure the mic is on.
Yeah, make sure the green light's on. Green or blue? Yeah, that'd be green.
They'll be green
The
here.
green one on the mic. Yeah. Pull it up to you.
You can charge your phone on the blue light, but
We can charge our phone there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tap the
I didn't think
button.
we could bring our phones in.
Just tap the button there.
Well, you guys
There.
probably can't unless I gave them notice that you could.
You have to get us a get out of jail free card.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, That might be helpful someday.
It might be.
Well, thanks for letting us come up today. I just wanted to kind of do a brief midterm review of where you're at from a insurance claim perspective. Want to see what maybe change in operations that you may have and considering that might be helpful for us to be ahead of. And then the third thing, it's some customers you never stop thinking about their next renewal, and you're one of them because there's challenges in our industry today. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So your package insurance side, well, you guys, we've worked with you guys, I think, for 50 or 60 years, our office has. It's been a long run. But I will tell you, the last 2 years have probably been the best 2 years we've ever had.
Good.
So that's really good news from our perspective. I think you're doing just a lot of things really, really well. I think that we're going to talk a little bit about, Kyle will talk a little bit about the workman's comp here in a second, but that's not doing quite as well. But and I think one of the things that hopefully we could, the package is great. I mean, it's just incredibly good. So I'm not sure that we need to talk about that other than that. Kyle, why don't you kind of address maybe where we're at on the comp side of it from a claim standpoint?
Is your light on, Kyle? There you
It is now. Well, Mike led with the package, which is going great. He gave me the work comp, which is not quite as good.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. So we do have, you guys are not immune to it. As you can imagine with the labor market now, when you're having higher turnover, when you're having individuals that are coming in that may be less qualified, the likelihood that there can be accidents, injuries increases because of that. And so in the work comp world, we're seeing across the board, companies, municipalities have issues with increased claims and everything that comes with that. You guys are not immune to it at the moment, unfortunately. But we do have a situation where your guys' experience mod, which is one of the big factors for work comp, you have payroll, that's a big factor in what happens to work comp, and your experience mod, which essentially claims coming in, claims paid out, and a modifier that the state rates for everybody. So according to your peers, you guys are at a 1.0 currently, which is industry standard. Next year, we're going to probably see an uptick in that number for you guys. So we've been working out ahead. We've had conversations with our current underwriter on it. We have also identified another market that we think is going to be a player for you guys as well that we can look at for the renewal. So we're working on that proactively. That's just more of an FYI for you guys that, like I said, the industry's seeing it across the board. You guys aren't immune to it, but we're having conversations to get out ahead of it. One item that we're trying to do with a lot of our clients is some increased proactive risk management. If having loss control individuals come in and help however they can, however you guys see fit. That's something that we could definitely help bring more to the table if that's something you guys are interested in. And Mike can probably shed some color on maybe what we've done in the past as well as how we could help moving forward.
I think one of the things, I think that's a great comment, one of the things historically work comp is a roller coaster. You focus on losses, and if you focus on losses and safety, work comp claims go down. Prior to COVID, we had quarterly safety meetings, and we talked a lot. IPEP came in, and we met on a quarterly basis with your department heads, and we talked about safety, and our claims were pretty good. COVID became an issue. In our safety meetings, we've probably had one in the last 3 years. Is that, would you say?
In person, yeah.
One in person in the last 3 years. And I just think that there's I've seen it over the years with other customers, and one that, when it's in the forefront, claims seem to go down. When we're talking about safety, claims seem to go down. And it's typically going to be driven by the owners of the company. When the owners of the company buy in for the safety of the organization, and it goes down to their leaders, and it goes down to the working folks, it feels like your cost will go down. And for us, if we can get back into that, I think it could be beneficial. It takes an hour, they bring donuts for all your department heads, but it just kind of, it's kind of promotes, we have a culture of safety. And that safety within our community is important. Because I think over the last, year by year, what we've paid out, the last 3 years, 4 years, I should say.
Yeah, the last 4 years, we paid out 100,000 in claims. 19 to 20, we had a really good year, it was 14,000 in claims. And the last two recent years, we've had 245,000 in claims and 141,000 in claims. So it's just kind of ratcheted up here these last couple of years.
So we're averaging six figures in claims. If you spin the clock back 4 years ago, we probably averaged 30 or 40.
How much premium do we pay roughly, do you know?
Yeah.
You have that, Kyle?
It's a percentage of payroll, correct?
It's rates by class, yes, so it is.
Clerical's different.
$100 of payroll.
Yeah.
Clerical's different than like a mechanic versus.
Exactly, yeah. It's all relative to what the job function they have is. That work comp was about 140,000
Of premium?
a premium, yeah.
So the reality is if we've had our mod has been as low as 0.75 in the past. So if we could get our mod back to that level again, we'd save 25% of that. That's an employee with all their benefits for us. And so I think that one of the things that, again, COVID has changed everybody's lives in a lot of ways. And some of the things you did in the past, you just kind of forget to do because we all get busy with things. So I guess if we could if you view it's important and we can get your help, we'd be happy to meet with them on a monthly. We did it quarterly. I always thought I think Susan was set in on several of them, and she could probably comment. Felt like there was great cooperation among the department heads. I felt like there was, they talked about it, and I felt we had good results from that because it became an important thing within the community, your work community.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is during COVID, obviously Zoom took over and it brought huge efficiency across the board for a lot of things. A lot of things that we thought we had to do in person, we can now do in Zoom, and everyone's better off because of it. In-person or safety meetings for this type of stuff was not one of those things that was improved.
Yeah.
And now and so, like I said, the whole industry is seeing it now as you fast forward a couple of years. Just getting back in front of people face to face seems to have a big impact.
And I will say that this isn't the only conversation like this that we're having. We have other customers that we have had these things going on, and COVID kind of put us, it kind of disappeared for the safety side, focus on that. So it's something that, don't feel like we're alone on this. And again, I don't think we're awful, but I think we can get better, and obviously it's a way to reduce cost. And it's really going to be a way for us to keep your costs lower. That's really what our intent is over the years. And honestly, and Kyle will talk about that, we represent, there's really only two great markets for workman's comp, and we represent both of them. So we have options. So with that said, I guess the next question we would have, if you guys can help us with this, I guess it's going to be, the ball's in your court. If you can initiate who your safety leader is, I'm not even sure. Kyle has been to the last meeting. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, that was probably 3 or 4 months ago, I bet.
I haven't been to one for a long time. No, Dottie's involved. I don't know if Jason is.
Is Jason
think
being part of that?
Because Roger used to be, so I don't know if Jason took that over. And then we'd
Homeland
have like
Security
Cheryl
Director.
and
I think
Ben
that's who it
and
was.
Sheriff's Department.
When Roger was,
Like not all the department heads came, but
Ben Noyes came.
those that have the most.
Yeah, we're certainly supportive, and whatever we can do to get the ball rolling again, I think is I
So
would be in favor of anyway.
if you guys could reach out to them, whoever leads it, and then maybe have them contact our office, and we're happy to set it up. We just need to know that you guys are going to,
Thank you.
That'd be helpful. And then we can get this set up and get it going. It just kind of changes the mindset, changes the culture. When we're talking about safety, it seems to work. It seems to be the secret sauce to some extent.
And, you know, I'm all for safety, awareness training, protocols in place, whatever. But if you look at our claims, I'm not sure the safety discussion is relevant to our current high claims. One was a training incident with a officer that, it's a freak thing, he throws a ball or something, I don't know, tears up a shoulder real bad.
How many
I don't have the,
Another one was a fall on the ice, another one was, and we salt more than anyone. I think we use the majority of the salt in DeKalb County for sidewalks. I mean, there comes a point to where, like you said, our claims used to be low. I'm not sure it really was, and I'm not knocking the safety thing, don't get me wrong. I think people are overworked right now. I think the workforce is older in some of the areas we were talking about the injury.
I know I am.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know how you get away from a guy throwing a ball to a dog, ripping his shoulder up and saying, well, we should have had a meeting on that would have fixed that, or the person fall on the ice, we could say, yeah, we should have had more salt down at 3 in the morning instead of 5 in the morning. I'm all for the help, I just think though that we're in a bad state of claims just due to.
I think, Todd, that, and you're right, I'm sure, I don't know the specifics of each of the claims. The thing that I would say is that we've had 3 out of 4 years that haven't been very good.
Yeah.
So there has to be some secret, there is something, even if your employees are stretching, do a little bit before they throw the ball. And I'm not saying they should have, but,
Yeah.
There's always, anytime if you look back, and one of the things that the safety could be, if you have a safety committee in place, we have a claim, so the first thing you do, you bring your committee or 2 or 3 people into the committee and look at, say, what happened and what could have we done to prevent this?
Okay.
And then and what that does, it'll bring it to the attention of the people, because accidents happen, and if accidents didn't happen, I wouldn't have had a job. So, we're great, and again, nobody does those things on purpose, but
No.
the intent is more, can we focus on what went wrong? How can we fix it? How can we keep it from happening again? And to your point, sometimes there might not be anything. And so I agree with that.
Idea is to reduce the odds, reduce the percentage
Exactly.
of possibility.
Yeah.
and
That's-
looking
that's
for
the thing.
trends. If we see this one thing happening over and over, trying to, shine a better light on that thing.
I just feel like it can help us again, because I felt like we had energy going through. It was probably 3 years ago now that we had some energy with that. And so.
Well, and this,
Go ahead.
this kind of all lays into what we're trying to do too with health awareness with people. If you are 100 pounds overweight and you're throwing a ball, you're probably going to tear a shoulder up. I'm not saying whoever was in that. I'm just saying there's certain things that are out of our control, and you can tout safety all the time, but if the person doesn't even care about their own safety, I mean, if they're not keeping up on their own health, that's going to add to these claims also. If you're pretty fit and you fall down on the ice, a lot of times you bounce up and you get a bruise, but if you're not fit and you fall, and you tend to break stuff,
It's amazing to me when I spend 5 minutes a day stretching, and because I need to, my whatever it is are tighter than they used to be. If I
Right.
spend 5 minutes a day doing that, how much better I feel the rest of the day. And I don't have to do a lot of stuff.
Good point.
So can we just kind of remind ourselves of what can we do to make myself, and honestly, if someone that's in maybe a little better condition, to your point, if they're walking on that ice, are they even going to fall? Is their balance going to be better?
Absolutely it is.
And I'm not saying any of these things are wrong. I have no disparity about anything, but again, I think it just goes along to the whole community kind of approach to what we can do to make us the best safety employer in the county.
One of the things I've had to do with my own personal thing is realize that I can't do what I used to do. The other day, I jumped out of the bed of a pickup truck.
I know, but Bill can.
Yeah.
He has a cape that has a big S on it.
Yeah. Well, I jumped out and I hit the ground and I literally almost started crying. It hurt so bad. And I thought, what happened? Oh, yeah, you're 51 years old. That's what happened. So I think awareness, like you said, in safety training, say, hey, especially when you're addressing people a little older, saying, listen.
God, I can barely remember being 51.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say, I wish I was 51.
Let's see, you were 51 back in the 70s. But anyway, But yeah, that's good.
I don't think that was very nice, was it?
Well, you should be the oldest one in the room.
I would be then.
I see some benefit to that, and I'd love to see some integration and some talks. And we had, one thing we talked about is better communication within this county to make things run smoother, and I think communication about safety and
But that, keeping that awareness in front of our team is important, even when you're dealing with some outliers, some out of the ordinary accidents, just,
And I think to your point, Mike, it also, it just sends a message that we care about you as an individual because we want you to be, have the best work environment and safe environment. So we're happy to do it. And I've seen, the only thing I can tell you in my years of experience in this industry, when it's focused on and when it's talked about, when you get buy-in from the ownership, the corporate leaders, the claims seem to reduce. And when you take your eye off the ball from focusing, talking about it, making it aware of it, but you have to talk about it. You can't just say, we want to be safe, but there has to be a routine of conversation about safety is important to us. So,
okay.
And I think the timing is really good with fall around the corner, and unfortunately, winter follows.
Yeah.
That this might be a good time to talk about certain issues, ice, what we're wearing on our feet even, coming in the winter. I mean, flip-flops in the wintertime on ice isn't a good idea.
not such a good idea.
But you see it, and so maybe, reminders.
And that simple stuff like that would be a good discussion, just reminding people,
Yeah,
hey, the proper foot attire in the winter is smart.
It means everything.
One of the big things that I see a tough one to get around, though, is the sheriff's department. I mean, a guy whacks you in the side of the head with a club or spits in your eye or,
those are clearly, I agree.
yeah, I just, that's the one I think that's costing us the big money is mostly it's the sheriff department. And unfortunately, we have, safety-wise, they have to just react, and
To some extent, that's just it's a society issue.
yeah.
Only the Lord's going to change our society.
We need the Lord.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Anyway, again, so if you'd include us in the email, we'll work to make sure we get IPEP here and other folks.
Okay.
Already sent.
I like the idea.
Second thing, I just want to talk a little bit about what changes maybe in your operations you guys are anticipating. I know that I've seen in the paper that the county garage seems like it's moving forward. So is there any other things in your, and when you do that, I don't know if you're going to be adding on, building more buildings, if want to make sure that what we do for you, I know that when we did the community corrections, our understanding initially that the contractor was going to insure the building, and they didn't during the course of construction. So halfway through, we had to add it. So they just didn't, they didn't do it. So we'd be happy to look at only the insurance part of any provision that you guys develop to make sure that we're providing the coverages you guys need to have.
We go with the bot, I assume the builder would insure it.
Yeah.
Or the
Developer.
developer would
Yeah.
insure it
absolutely.
on a
Yeah,
bot.
so but
Okay.
it wouldn't hurt we'll make sure that we double check that.
Yeah.
Good
Is there any-
reminder.
Any other thing you guys have planned of changes in the organization that we might be aware of, need to be aware of? That could be of significance.
You gonna take up skydiving or anything like that?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
Is this the time to bring up the county helicopter?
Aircraft liability.
Todd wants to donate a helicopter to the
Oh,
county.
donate? Oh, I didn't hear that.
He's going to donate and fly it for you. Yeah. Is that going to be like so you could come over to our office, pick us up, drop us off?
But
here?
I'm just thinking
Drop,
efficiency for
drop
the
you off
county.
is the main theme here, is just drop you off. It's not land, it's just drop you.
But now, if you could take some of the claims experience from the CPP and average it with the health side,
Yeah.
we'd probably work out.
Yeah. Hopefully we can come up with, I don't know if we've talked to you much yet about wellness and things of that nature, because I think that's an important piece of it. We'd be happy to come back and talk about that in ways that you can implement wellness as part of your program?
And I think that's really something that we need to concentrate on, Mike. So any assistance you can give Rex on that
Yes.
We'll talk to
to
him
help
about
move that forward, that's something that we, right along with the safety aspect of the liability side, getting our team to a healthier status and incentivizing that in some way, shape, or form, I think is really an important thing.
He just said the key word. You can have all these wellness programs you want, and the people that truly care about their health and are proactive, they show up to them because they're like, hey, I want to know and I want to make corrective action. A lot of people are just happy where they're at, and they have their insurance, so they figure, well, I'd love to incentivize them to show them, hey, you can not only save the county money, you can be much healthier and happier and, long-term.
Well, better quality of life.
Better quality of life.
and-
But
and
I
any
think you gotta
number of things.
incentivize it to get them to understand it. And usually money incentivizes people.
Well, and I've got Humana as my Medicare Advantage plan, and if I get my flu shot, they send me a Walmart gift card. If I get my, any number of these,
Right.
year annual physical and blah 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 blah.
And I think there's things that you can do. I think not only from what Mike is saying, and again, Rex is going to help you better than I would. But you can also, guys, if you're not, when you play, you pay. If you're not willing to this is what we're implementing. We're going to give you time to work on this.
Sure.
But if you're a smoker, because obviously that's a deterrent to your health, you're probably going to pay a little more for your insurance.
And we already do that, but it's not enough.
And if you're,
What is it, 25 a pay? Or 25, what do we charge smoking? And I'm sorry, I don't
can't
mean, I
remember if it's 25 a month or 25 per pay.
think it might only be a month and,
Yeah, I think
we'll have Rex be in here in the short term out or out of town. We'll have him in and probably bring another team member to talk to you guys about wellness and how we can get that implemented in your program.
And I know that Rex and Dottie have been having some conversations
Okay.
about that, but anything that we can do to facilitate that and really emphasize it, I think is going to be a benefit.
I think every individual in their life, has to take responsibility for their own health. And if you're not willing to take the necessary steps appropriate, are you going to have to pay more?
well, and that's the problem because you raise everyone else's rates. And like when I was on MediShare, the reason why that program works is they flat tell you right at the beginning. They say, if you use drugs and you get in an accident, we won't pay the claim. If you drink more than this much alcohol, we will not bring you into the program. If you're not, they go on and on and on. Now,
Any illegal act's not covered.
yeah, they're, not only legal, they put moral bounds down. Now, they can do that because it's not insurance. A lot of people, but I'm just saying there's certain things we can look at and say, listen, if you do this, you're going to improve your health, you're going to bring down the cost for everyone. This is a team player thing. But, people that have chronic illness of no fault of their own, I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. But there's...
I had a friend tell me one time, and I think it's one of the wisest things that anybody's ever said to me about it comes away because it's something I struggle with my whole life. Still do, and still working on it. Every day I feel like I work on it. Some days I succeed better than others. But they said, nothing tastes as good as being thin.
That's true.
And if you could, and if
It's
people-
true.
For me, I think about that, and some days I'm better at it than others. But it's I'm the one that's put me in the, nobody did. My wife's the best cook ever. Way too good. Especially cookies.
I'm with you there.
But she didn't make me eat any of them. She might have made them. She didn't make me eat them. So I think when you have to, and I think it's one of the things that for our whole society doesn't take responsibility for. And I think what you guys are trying to accomplish is each of us have some personal responsibility. But in the balance we have, it's hard to find employees now.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, we got.
And a lot of time it's
Yeah,
a little bit of guidance and a little bit of
Yeah.
Okay.
persuasion.
Are you guys, do we need to leave here at this point?
You don't need to leave, we just got to take a break for...
We'll take a break,
Break
and
for the pledge.
you can come back after, and
Yeah, we
Okay,
we'll
we
finish
just have
up.
about 10 minutes. We'll be done.
We can give you
A
8.
little early.
8?
You're up today, Mike.
Okay.
It's your honor.
Okay.
Oh, Mark.
You have it. It's good to see you. You hating yourself?
So your partner kind of crickets, Chad.
I don't get myself in trouble, somebody else does.
Yeah.
Going good here? It's normal here.
Yeah.